from Now with Troy with another Workflow Wednesday. And as you can see on the screen, I've got Pedro Soto with me. Hi, Pedro.
Hey, Troy. Hello, everybody.
Thanks for jumping in again with me.
Fun.
One of the things that we're talking about today is webinars. And as you can see, Pedro, again, he's part of the extended family at Third Era, and we love working closely with Westbury Analytics. We're going to talk about an upcoming webinar. But I have to admit, I love Thanksgiving. I love playing with my 3 grandkids and loved it to the point that I got some germs from them and I got sick. So last week, I know the raving fans are out there saying, where was Troy last Wednesday?
Yeah.
But Pedro, before we get into yours, I just want to jump a little bit and look at webinars from Third Era. That is, as we look at thirdera.com/webinars as a significant partner in this ecosystem, one of the things that we at Third Era aim to do is bring experts together, bring content together, and be that educator and advocate for people looking at how they can get the most out of ServiceNow. So thirdera.com/webinars. Go there often, check them. We're going to talk about Pedro's, but I warned Pedro, before we get into that, we're going to talk a little bit about this next upcoming webinar, the art and science of experience management. So if I click in this, I've got it on another tab over here. If the Zoom controls would get out of my way, there we go. The art and science of UI. Pedro, I don't know what you've seen in Westbury Analytics and cloud people, but COVID has really pushed digital transformation, hasn't
it? That is a fact.
And what I found is that the systems that our employees interact with become more and more important. Yep. And I think that's the key of this webinar. It's coming up, as you can see on the screen, it's coming up on the 9th. So tomorrow at noon Mountain, because I'm Mountain Time, so I'm going to translate for you. But if you look at this, we've brought together a team of people. Brianne is from Third Era Digital. I'm so excited that Third Era has a digital agency that isn't going to build another full stack of technology with all the technology debt that comes along with it. But Third Era Digital is built on the Now platform, building that user experience on platform. She's joined by Lisa Schwartz from ITSM Academy, as well as Sammy from Happy Signals. And we work very closely with Happy Signals to get that, as you might imagine, right, that Happy Signals back.
Yeah. Great people. I don't know Brianna personally. I haven't really worked with her, but Lisa and Sammy, excellent, professionals. They really know their thing that they
know their stuff. Yes, indeed.
A great webinar.
So join that webinar. You go to thirdera.com. You can find those links, register, and sign up for that. If you sign up, great to attend live, because then you can ask questions of those 3, but also gives you the recording if your schedule can't accommodate that at that time. But Pedro, let's jump to yours. And of course, the Zoom controls got right in my way as I try to shift screen. Let me sneak underneath it. There we go. Awesome. Demystifying ITSM Pro. I'm not even going to scroll down yet. Pedro, tell me about this one.
Yeah. So, Troy, there's 3 things I want to touch on today of why folks should make time to attend the webinar or watch the recording. Look, we know different time zones, 87 different things everybody's handling with every hour. So you may not be able to make it, but when you listen to what I'm about to say, you're going to want to somehow consume that content. And here's the first thing: complexity. Look, I know everybody likes to say use out-of-the-box solutions and virtual agent and the ITSM Pro toolset is out-of-the-box solution. Let me show you an out-of-the-box solution. Something like this, okay?
Right.
Out of the box, put it on, use it. That's out of the box.
That's out of the box, right?
ServiceNow solutions, come on, for enterprises with the complexity and the scale that they touch. So, that's the first thing, the context for not just ITSM Pro, but UI, risk, CMDB. You need help from folks that are focused on that. So like our team of technicians and analysts over the last 12, 18 months collectively have probably put over 3,000 hours into virtual agent, right?
Wow.
And you look at our colleagues in each of the ServiceNow clients, is it worth for them to put in 300, 500, 700 hours to develop expertise in a module when they've got a business to run?
Right.
That's for everybody to decide, right? So that's the first one. And when you look at cost, straight cost, and cost opportunity, you might remember a data point I mentioned, Troy, in our last Now with Troy, that the top 25 percentile of mature organizations that got their act together have about 17 hours of lost productivity per employee, right? And the bottom,
but it's up.
Yeah, and the bottom 25% have 47 hours of lost productivity, right? Now, what service desk's number one job is to return as much productivity as they can. So watch this. Here, I did a little calculating right before, so we wouldn't take time messing around with the calculator. So take an organization with 5,000 employees. If you could save 10 minutes,
just 10 minutes,
okay, in a year with the proper deployment of virtual agent and artificial intelligence, and when you do the number and you apply a conservative $50 an hour, right?
Right.
So 10 minutes over 5,000 employees is 500,000 minutes. Divide by 60, you're going to get about 8,333 minutes. Multiply by $50 an hour, a very conservative.
Right, very.
And you're in the 400, almost $500,000.
Wow.
Lost opportunity.
Yep.
All right. So do you want to take 3, 6, 9 months to get VIG to deliver those 10 minutes of return productivity to your users? Or do you want to do it in 60, 90 days?
Right.
So that's the point.
I love finding ways to do that math where you can show the real value behind those efficiency gains.
Yeah.
Because often, we talk about finding ways to make work flow better, right? To improve workflows, to improve efficiencies, and it's not always easy to make that tangible. So I like examples like this where we can make it tangible.
Exactly. So that was the first point I wanted to make: complexity and opportunity cost, lost opportunity cost, lost ROI opportunity. The second one is, let's look at the everyday real life world of a ServiceNow team, right? You got developers, you have folks in the business analysts area, and what do they have access to? Well, they've got documentation, right?
Right. Docs.servicenow.com.
Yeah, but documentation explains and describes the product. Does not tell you how to implement. Okay, you have a community, and you will have excellent help and resource in the community, but it's scattered, right? Somebody has a really burning question, posts it. Somebody in the community will answer it. Awesome. So that's help. Third one is you've got Virtual Agent Academy, which has come online in, I think, the last 6-9 months. That's a higher quality type of support like you would get in the community, because, hey, I've got this burning question. Very focused. And you get more on it, and you have some structured support as well. And then there's some paid training. There's additional training. There's Virtual Agent Essentials, which is a nice introduction. And then I know ServiceNow has introduced some additional paid training on leveraging ITSM Pro. But here's the thing. No matter how much you train, it's like Mike Tyson said, right? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right.
And you're going to get punched in the face when
Right.
when you hit the trenches with all your training and start doing this thing.
Well,
So
the three words that come to my mind that I've used in many different walks of life, right, is there's knowledge, there's experience, and there's wisdom, right? And people will paint those together differently, but in my experience, it's like knowledge is good. It's kind of the starting of that journey. I can put things in the gray matter and eyes wide open, right? I dig through the documentation, I get some training, but I still haven't, taken the hit to the head, right? I haven't had that experience. That experience takes time in those niches, and it takes time in different environments to learn, well, that worked there, but in this other setting, when I bob and weave, I might still get clocked, right? That experience comes with time. Many would say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. That's knowledge coupled with experience. And that leads to wisdom. It's like wisdom really comes when you have both the knowledge stacked up and the experience stacked up. And that's one of the things where I think as Third Era, we aim to bring that kind of across the platform. But then we find partners like you, like Whisperry, where you have this very niche focus on how we take that further. And so you bring that knowledge, experience, and wisdom to bear, and so that's good. So let's jump a little bit more to this webinar. So you piqued my interest. We've talked about how we need to have the different ways I can find training. Is people are looking at ITSM versus ITSM Pro, whether they have it already or they're considering getting into that. Why is this session on the 14th really important for someone to attend?
Yeah, awesome. So that was the third, point I wanted to touch, which is the content, right?
Right.
The content. So here's the cool thing. There is so much that we could talk about, but I distilled three topics that I want to cover, right? And it has to. I call them secrets, not because they're kept secret, because you don't know them until you get hit in the face, until you jump in the actually start.
You have the experience. You come with the wisdom, so you have the secrets.
Exactly, right? So first secret is, what kind of skill sets do you need, right?
Okay.
Second secret is continuous improvement. A lot of us in the industry talk about it, but we actually don't do it. This is one solution where you can't fake your way through it. If you don't
do it once and done.
It's not a once. If you don't set things up and the tools are there and the experience and that wisdom that we can bring helps you set it up, you're gonna just creamed. And then the third one is, what does a start, we call it quick start, look like, right? And we're actually going to go into each of those things, but we're also going to share with you what the quick start looks like so you can kind of plan for it. But even more importantly, at the end, I'm going to make an offer so that those that want to can get a free access. There's no sales page. We've created a set of about 23 videos, and they range between 2 minutes to 5-6 minutes. And what that's meant to address is to help those people that will just say, no, we're going to do this on our own. Yeah, it's great that Westbury and other partners like them are out there to help us, but we're going to do this on our own. Look, this will easily save you 6 months of heartache, because we're distilling that real live experience when you start implementing. So it'll complement all the other resources that are available that I mentioned earlier. And it will help you save at least 6 months of frustration, going down wild rabbit holes and all this stuff, so that if you have to do it on your own, you can watch these videos. They're very fun. Yeah. And I can cover all that in a webinar. And besides, you would forget it. And here, these videos, you'll have access to them and you can review them as you go deploy. And with that quick start framework that you'll have, you'll really, you'll improve your chances of not getting trapped down a rabbit hole that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months later, you're like lost and just wishing you
could. I love that. Especially in today's world. I mean, we've heard the phrase so many times, you go to YouTube University to learn anything.
Yeah.
And the reality is video, shorter videos in particular, are very helpful because, our time is precious, our time is tight. And it's great that you've put together that series of videos that people can come in and say, all right, I want to learn on this topic.
Yeah.
Where can you help me with the knowledge and the experience so I can glean some of the wisdom? I'm not going to get it all, right? But help distill some of that. And so I love that you've put that together. So as they come out of that, they'll have access to that series.
Yeah. Towards the end, I'll share how you can get them. And, that's why even if they don't attend the live webinar, it'll be there in the recorded webinar and they can figure out how to get it. And I think it's going to be a really good thing for whoever checks it out. And here's what spawned that idea. It was like around the 7th or 8th conversation I was having with a platform owner, manager, and clients,
right,
and their lead developer.
Okay.
Sitting there and, in a kind of like this, right? Zoom, because the pandemic for the couple of years. And it's like, these people, you would think these people got together.
They schemed.
Yeah, to say the same thing. Obviously, they didn't. Different companies, different industries, different geographies.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? We gotta do something about this. And so that's what we created. We think these videos will be really helpful, and they're hot off the press. They're literally being finished, the editing as we speak. So they'll be ready and put online next week, so people can access them. But you got to attend the webinar.
Got to attend the webinar to get it. That's
great. So register for it.
Right, you got to register for it. You'll get the recording. You'll get the access to the video series. That's awesome. I want to turn back a little. Did you have anything else on that series? Because I want to circle back to I think your first point.
Yeah, complexity.
Okay, so little bit of tangent, right? So this may overlap with some of the webinar, but I want to unpack something we talked about. In your first point is really looking at the skill set of the people that organizations bring in. It's been interesting to watch. I say the trend has been happening over the last maybe 5 years. Maybe it's less than that. But prior to 5 years ago, anytime I worked with a client, I was very adamant. You have to have your own in-house ServiceNow developers. You have to have your retained staff development team. I'm really curious to see if you have the same perspective as you look at that, knowledge, experience, and wisdom. The ServiceNow market has become so competitive, and that it's changed. That partners, there are more than 1,400 partners that are bringing that experience, that are enabling personalities, people with strengths as a ServiceNow developer, to be able to jump in and have the experience of multi-project, multi-client, multi-challenge, right? It tweaks the gray matter in ways that keeps people happy. But the side effect is it's becoming increasingly difficult, at least what I hear from clients, to retain the ServiceNow developer staff. They're shifting, and there's a shift where instead of bringing in and having a developer team, they're having really, I hate to use the term, but I think it's right, is a BA team, or as ServiceNow would call it, a BPC team, business process consultant, someone that understands the capabilities of the platform and can understand business terms and workflow terms and what has to happen in the organization to be able to bridge that gap.
Yep.
And you might still retain a smaller developer team, but that's where partners really fit in. Are you seeing that same trend, or what, particularly as you look at that now intelligence capabilities that Westbury focuses on?
Yeah, definitely. So what you're seeing is you have your subject matter experts, and they understand their business in their organization, right?
Right. Context.
Yeah, context. Exactly. Context in the organization within the context of the business, right? Within the context of the technology. And so, yeah, so they bring us in to do two things, right? To bring the concentrated experience and expertise on that particular subject, in our case now intelligence, virtual agent, predictive intelligence, and performance analytics, right? But then also it's the ability to implement quickly, which is where the technical expertise comes in.
Right.
Right. And in the case of virtual agent, just to give a little preamble to one of those secrets that we're going to talk about, is that, remember when I told you around the 7th or 8th conversation, I thought these folks in the same room, when they've been working on it. Typical sort of approach is, from senior management, it's decided, let's implement virtual agent. So that falls on the platform manager, right? Or the platform, whoever owns the product in the enterprise. And what do they
make it so, chief, right?
Go grab the first developer or their key developer or the developer they trust most. Let's go do it. And they just don't realize that you need that business process, business analyst skill set that a technical developer is not going to have.
Right.
For the most part. They may have an understanding, right? They know how to interface with somebody who's got that skill set, but they don't have that skill set to go in and understand for some of those critical applications and services, and for those applications and services that account for the 80-20 Pareto rule, 80% of and incidents and requests, those are the ones that you should develop a very well articulated virtual agent topic called custom topics, right? Because that's where you're really going to move the needle on returning lost productivity to your user base and improving the customer experience and improving efficiencies and reducing costs, right? It's just a network of benefits. But you need an analyst skill set to understand the specific flow between the users and the service desk.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to ask you for a little more clarification too, because on many parts of the platform, I at least as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing really two distinctions, that there's a personality and a set of skill sets that might be in the same person, right? That understands ServiceNow, understands those capabilities, knowledge and experience, wisdom, right? How do I make this system work? There's another aspect that comes in with the kind of tacit knowledge of here's the business, the organization, the division, the process, the culture even of how this works in my organization. But I want you to talk a little bit more. There's another one that I think kind of overreaches those or maybe glues them together. And that's the personality that can understand really the human interaction, right? It's beyond just, well, I need to fill out this form, I need these fields, I need this step to happen next, right? It's very tactical.
Yeah.
That there's a glue that from this process to this system, what is the human language? What is the human processing, right? How do you characterize that glue? That skill set?
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing, at least the way we've seen it evolve in our specialists, is that they understand those first two parts and they're able to synthesize it because they have the understanding of how, in the case of virtual agent, how it works.
Right.
So it's a person that understands process and is able to create a design document. So they also understand the virtual agent specific idiosyncrasies, specific way of delivering experience to the end user.
Right. All the nuances of VA, right?
Learn that's why those multiple conversations with folks that are present, we can't make this thing to work. It doesn't work.
Right.
It works well. It works fine. But it was understanding VA enough to create the design document that somebody who's really good at the technical virtual agent designer can go and build the conversations and the custom topics and the topic blocks to do that.
Gotcha.
And we're actually going to demo. So I'm actually going to have that person on the webinar to demo
Nice.
that. Yeah. And those videos really just cover that whole gamut.
Right.
That whole
We need the mind blown meme, right, to show up.
yeah.
Awesome. Right. I'm looking at our time, and we're coming to a close. Pedro, I want to thank you for jumping on this Workflow Wednesday. You've shared a number of great tidbits that really point to why someone should sign up for the webinars. Again, go to thirdera.com/webinars. Keep watching that page. We've talked about the 2 that are on deck right now, but that's something that you'll continue to see us accelerate the pace of the content that we bring to bear to the market. And Pedro, again, I thank you for being part of the broader Third Era team, and I look forward to really seeing how the audience reacts and the conversations that we get to have together with clients as they really transition. Are they going to do this? Do the kind of DIY? And how to equip them as the advisors and trusted advisors to just kind of shape that, versus those that are going to bring us in and we get to jump into the weeds with them and do it together, right?
Exactly. Awesome. Hey, Troy, thanks for having me, inviting me, and everything you do to set these Not With Troy. There's a bunch of things you glue together to deliver the experience. So great job, and thank you.
Thanks much. All right, I'm going to turn the stream off. I need just to wait for a little bit of lag so we don't cut some of this. But again, thank you. Watch for Workflow Wednesdays next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.